Our viewers have seen all the video of the looting. I understand that you were out and about in the city today. Can you tell us what it looks like on the streets?
Well, there's quite a few shops with glass broken and a few shops that are burnt down, but there's also shops that have signs on the windows saying that we're with the people, and those shops seem to be skipped over. There's also anti-looting demonstrations going on. There's a lot of children running in the street with white armbands, which seems to signify that they're against the looting, and a lot of people don't really like the looting, stealing from each other.
Anti-looters, do you take those to be supporters of the president, or do you take those to be simply anti-looters? Are they making a political statement, I guess, is my question.
Most likely, yes.
They're not making a political statement. They're just against the looting. A lot of people don't appreciate the looting. It's not really helping the situation too much. It's just private citizens taking advantage of the turmoil in the country. And a lot of people are really against that.
Tell me what the atmosphere was on the streets. Did you fear is there any danger out there? Is it calm? Is it still in a state of unrest like it was yesterday?
It's not nearly as bad as it was yesterday. There's really no government personnel running around. There's no police. There's no military. It's mainly just citizens. It is a little, quite a bit uneasy. People are kind of wary of each other. There's still random, like I was caught with a whole bunch of kids running past me earlier today, and I don't know what they were running from. There's a lot of fireworks or gunshots. Most people don't know which, and people running in all different directions. But the military seems to be gone. It's a lot calmer than it was yesterday, but people are still worried about the looters for tonight.
How long did you stay out on the streets?
Probably about 4 hours this afternoon.
So you weren't afraid at all. You weren't hiding. You were in the open, correct? Just walking down the center of the street?
Yeah, we were just walking down the center of the street. I had my video camera with me. And luckily, I met, a friend and I met a Kyrgyz man who helped give us a little tour and explain to people what we were doing.
So who do you think is in control? You mentioned no police on the streets, no military on the streets. Who's keeping things calm?
I think a lot of citizens. No one really wants the riots. No one really wants the looting, and the opposition government, who I guess is now claiming control of the country, is trying to ease ease the situation here. But it's not. There's no one. It doesn't seem to be control as in police everywhere. It just seems to be the collective mind of the populace is against whatever's going on, the looting and all that. But of course, there is still people running around, breaking windows, going crazy. I don't know how they're going to stop that. There was word on that the police had started a people's militia to stop the looting, but I don't know if that was the white banded people running in the street. I'm not too sure.
You mentioned a little bit about how people feel about the situation that they're in. Can you tell me more about that? What are your neighbors saying about it? What are you hearing on the street about it?
Well, people are really worried because Bakiyev is now in the southern part of the country, and there's word that he's trying to rally support and plans on coming back to the capital to seize power. I don't. Those are just rumors that are going around. People are really worried about that. There's some people that think that there's going to be a civil war. There's some people that think there's not going to be a civil war. Some people don't think that they'll be able to make it back from Osh. But yeah, people are just genuinely worried, or generally worried. And most people just seem to be staying in their houses. There's not too many women out on the street. Of course, there's still a few who are witnessing history, but a lot of people just seem to be staying home.
Are you hearing anything from the news media, or are you just hearing the rumors from your neighbors, from people out on the street?
Well, we've been watching the news. The Kyrgyz news the opposition has taken over all the TV stations, and they're replaying footage from yesterday, kind of as a way to show the military power, what they were doing to the people, shooting people. And they have been broadcasting their talks. Rosa Otunbayeva has been on the television quite a few times. And she has been making statements about pretty much how the opposition is in control. There's going to be elections in 6 months to form a new government. There was a rally in the square that I witnessed, and it was they were talking about changing the constitution, writing a new constitution.
Could you tell us more about what Roseau Otunbayeva has been saying?
Well, she pretty much wants the riots to stop. She wants Bishkek to resume its peaceful state. I don't think she's been saying too much about what Bakiv's doing in the southern part of the country, but I do know that a lot of people are flocking to Bishkek from Iskul, Talis, the rest of Chuy Oblast, to help form the new government.
One last question for you. It's nighttime now, correct? What are you hearing
Yes.
out on the streets? Are you still hearing gunfire?
Yeah, every so often. It's not as bad as it was last night, but there are still occasional gunshots.
Do you know where they're coming from? Do you know who's precipitating the violence?
No, I don't know who's firing the guns. I did see some citizens with guns earlier today. There was tons of citizens running around with guns yesterday that they had confiscated from the police and the military. And I saw a few today. They weren't really showing them off. They were kind of hiding them in their jackets, but people do have guns now.
The video that we saw yesterday was basically a lot of injured people in the streets, a lot of violence, mass crowds, mobs just entering into the presidential square. None of that today?
Well, there's still a lot of people. There's a lot of people there. The violence isn't nearly there. A lot of people have broken into the White House. Someone is in control of the White House. I don't know if it's technically the opposition. They do have blue flags posted on all the entrances, and they seem to be kind of trying to keep the people behind the gates of the White House. I think they want to stop the looting, but the violence has certainly died down.
Let me just make sure I'm understanding you correctly. The blue flags are a symbol of the opposition, correct? The white armbands are a symbol of the anti-looters?
Yes. And they could be on the same side. I'm sure they are on the same side.
Can you take me from the time when you would normally walk out of your apartment just straight down the street of the city and what it was like yesterday for you to step outside the door? What type of reaction did you have?
The city is very uneasy. It's very difficult to walk the streets. You're always watching your back, making sure no one's looking at you strangely or anything like that. And before I was able to go wherever I wanted, I walked around at night. I easily just would walk around all day. Now I come home before nightfall, way before nightfall. And I just try not to give anybody the wrong look. Being an American and not knowing the language, I tend to just keep my mouth shut. And if anybody approaches me, I just tell them that I don't speak and kind of or keep going, keep walking.
Well, we wish you the best, Baylen, and I can't thank you enough for doing this interview. Please stay safe, keep in touch with us.